director of the ACLU's Voting Rights Project, Dale Ho. The ACLU was a plaintiff in this Wisconsin case. Dale, so congratulations on this round. Governor Walker's office issued an ominous statement just a few minutes ago. Do you think this ruling is going to stand?
I absolutely do think it's going to stand, Alex, and thanks for having me on today. We took this case to trial in November, and I don't think there's anyone who watched that trial and listened to the evidence that we presented, that there are over 300,000 voters in Wisconsin that don't have one of these limited forms of ID in order to vote, that they're disproportionately low-income voters for whom obtaining an ID is a burden, and that they're disproportionately people of color, so this violates the Federal Voting Rights Act, and that there's absolutely no evidence of in-person voter fraud happening in Wisconsin that these laws could prevent. I don't think there's a single person who watched that trial and could fairly say that we weren't going to win this case.
Dale, the lawlessness of what Governor Walker has done is stunning to me, given the fact that he is trying to actively disenfranchise the very people who didn't vote him into office in an election season, a year that he is on the ballot, and is now saying that he may call a special session of the legislature to reevaluate these laws. It feels like the only things standing in the way of like abject lawlessness and disenfranchisement are these judges that have taken. In Arkansas, something happened last week where a federal judge struck down another one of these voter suppression efforts. I mean, while that is a good thing that some sort of emergency stop exists, it's also a little bit disconcerting that this is what's happening to our legislative process, and that the only folks standing in the way of chaos are judges who are unelected.
I agree with you entirely. It's incredibly disconcerting. And what's really remarkable to me, Alex, is that we weren't talking about voter ID laws and voter suppression 10 years ago, right? No one was concerned about this. People who were doing what I did, voting rights litigation, we were mostly concerned about redistricting. It's really boring. It's how district lines are drawn. Most people don't care about it. Then all of a sudden, 2008 rolls around. The electorate gets younger, more diverse than it's ever been, and suddenly we have these voter suppression laws popping up all over the country, these voter ID laws which disproportionately target people of color. The evidence in our trial showed that Latinos and African Americans were twice as likely to lack a government-issued photo ID than were white voters. And as you pointed out, Scott Walker was not supported by black voters in Wisconsin. And we don't think that these facts are coincidences. It's too strange to be a coincidence.
Dale, really quick, what happens with the other efforts at voter suppression that Scott Walker has made? I mean, he's limited early voting under the auspices of sort of trying to equalize the voting process for rural and urban voters, which of course disproportionately favors rural voters. Is there any sense that those efforts will be rolled back in some way, shape, or form?
Well, there's no legal challenge going on right now to those early voting cutbacks in Wisconsin, but we're certainly evaluating all of our options, just like Governor Walker is. So you can be sure that in the weeks ahead, there'll be some more news about that.
The chapter is not written yet. ACLU's Dale Ho, thank you so much for your time.